Starting from the top left, we've got Big USA. Doesn't need much introduction, regarded as the best civ at the moment. Just so many shipments, so many OP shipments. It is 100% S tier. You've got the Russia Blockhouse, which is just insane. That card needs a nerf. It needs to nerf the either give it one Blockhouse or give it half the resource bonus, or both. Like give it 20% extra herding, and then one Blockhouse. Doesn't need two Blockhouses. It's just insane. You've got other things that could be nerfed as well. The Pennsylvania techs are bugged. Well, one of them's bugged. You got the 5 goons for 600 odd food. It's supposed to be gold, so hopefully next patch that'll be sorted, and that will definitely nerf them a lot harder as well. So yeah, so just need a couple of nerfs for USA. A couple of cards need a nerf, and hopefully they get brought back down to earth, and people will stop blaming them. So yeah, USA. Best civ in the game right now, regarded by most people. Let's go for something more safe. Let's go for France. Let's not do that. Let's go for France. Definitely A tier, and probably near the top of A tier. France, the epitome of balance. They are just the best all-round civ in the game. High tempo, high eco. They have some of the best heavy cav in the game. They can do anything. They can boom. They can semi-FF. They can FF. They've got the French Revolution, which is one of the best, probably the best revolt in the game. Yeah, nothing more needs to be about France. Just very, very solid civ. There's a couple of controversial ones in here, so I'm gonna come back to some of them. But this one might be a little bit controversial as well as Aztec. I might not keep Aztec second because I like my tier list to be horizontal as well. So Aztec, definitely S tier for me. I know people are that's gonna be a controversial one. It always is with the War Chief civs. Always is with the War Chief civs. But I'm keeping Aztec in S tier. They got an insane rush, like a really insanely strong rush. They beat FF civs, which in DE, the meta has always been turtle or fast FF. Fast Fortress type. Of course, go ahead, Risotto. I know you want to. Do it. Say the line, baby. Aztec, yeah, so they counter meta civs. Easy for the War Chief, yeah. On top of that, they have really good boom builds. They've got the Warrior Priest boom, which is still insane whenever you see Kinesi do it. They've got some of the strongest units in the game. They've got Arrow Knights. They've got Jaguar Knights, which are really, really good still. They've got the Eagle Runner Knights, which are still insane. Yeah, they're in the late game as well. Like Coyote spam is just disgusting. And they're just such a good civ. They are such a good civ. They got a good boom as well because they've got 5 villager card. Why do they need why on earth does Aztec need 5 villager card? It's just insane. But Aztec are there where they're at. So let's go for something more lower down the line. Dutch, sorry, Dutch boys. I think you're B tier. I could be persuaded that the bottom of A, but they just get on the ladder. They just get countered way too hard. They do well versus the European civs because they've always done well versus European civs, or they've done 50-50. They have a fair matchup against some civs, but even like Portugal, they just get outscaled so hard these days. They get countered by Brits because they've kind of always been countered by longbow spam. Russia's a 50-50 matchup. Otto's probably a good matchup for Dutch. Germany kind of beat them. France kind of beat them, but only slightly. Yeah, so Dutch just don't really have many good matchups at all. That's why they're in the B tier. Dutch absolutely C tier. I actually think I'm going to cancel these 2 tiers because I don't actually think there's more than 3 tiers. That's how good I think balance is, by the way. I actually think balance is really good in the game. I think it's the best it's ever been. I've said that a couple of times, but argue a time where it's been better. So Dutch are going to stay there. Let's go for Russia. Russia can join them in B tier. Which is better? I'm not really sure. It's very close. But again, like Dutch, Russia are they're a decent tournament civ, and it's weird because I'm judging this based off like ranked ladder, because that's how you have to do it. That's where the majority of games are. Russia and Dutch are good tournament civs because you can counter pick with those civilizations. They're strong on non-TP maps as well, which often you see. Lots of tournaments have non-TP maps, but on the ranked ladder, every map these days has a TP, and so they don't benefit from TPs like every other civ does. And they just have too many bad matchups. They have too many. Russia has too many bad matchups. Otto, Spain, just absolutely dick on them, and it's really rough. But like I said, there's still decent civs, but they're more of a tournament civ than they are a ranked ladder civ. You can still do well with these civs, by the way. I don't want people to think that you can't do well with these civs, because you can. They're only B tier. They're not C or D tier. They're not trash tier. They're just at the bottom. They're just the worst of. They're just the worst of the civs. They're not bad per se. They're just the worst of the civs. Let's go for Inca. Inca to me, S tier. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this because there's a lot of people, especially on YouTube as well, that say Inca are really bad, and even Falconets counter all their shit and all that sort of stuff. But Inca are just. They're like Aztec. They're similar to Aztec. They have just some of the best units in the game. They have some of the absolute best units in the game. And it's just like the way normally as well, the way to beat Inca is to rush them. But because Inca have the fast age up to age 2, and they have the 400 or 500, I think it's 400 food big button for the 5 plume spearmen, there's just no way to rush them, because if they see your villagers going building a forward base, they will just wreck you. They would just fucking wreck you. They will beat they will siege down your forward base before you can age up and get units out. And so they have ways to counter how you counter them. So they counter your counter. On top of that, cancer booming is just disgusting. With Chincha Brewing, it's still way too strong. But they have Chimu runners, which are one of the best units in the game. They have just so many units to deal with artillery. Harakas are just still insane. Plume Spearmen are fucking dumb. The irony is, Plume Spearmen might be their best unit. Like they're like their best late game unit. It's just insane. They've even got water booming. They're just so strong. They're just so strong. You just need to know how to play with them. That's the issue with Inca. You just need to know how to play with them. Germany, I think no questions asked here. Again, probably stronger than Inca. Are they stronger than Aztec? It's close. I'll probably put them stronger than them for the moment. Germany, very, very strong civ. Unbelievable cards. Tempo is insane. They can do H2 play. They can semi-FF. Their fortress style play is insane. They have some of the best shipments in the game because they get +2 Ulons and then +3 Ulons and then +4 Ulons, depending on the age they're in. Yeah, just an insane civ. Nothing much to talk about, really. 3 Ulons. We saw a game of Unger's, like, he just went naked FF and out-boomed his opponent, like, who was supposed to be a boomy civ. Like, they're such an aggressive civ as well. Played right, Germany are scary. Caverna somebody saying Aztecs is overperforming in all ELO ranges. I was looking at it yesterday. Yeah, so statistics can be useful sometimes, but I like to take statistics with a big pinch of salt because they don't always paint the right picture, if that makes sense. The percentages, especially at the high ELO ranges, can get skewed very, very heavily. Okay, Sweden. I think Sweden at the moment has to go in B tier. I could be persuaded that Sweden might be A tier. Do I think Sweden is A tier? The thing that might keep them in A tier is leather cannons. But maybe we can have more discussion about that later. The problem with Sweden, again, like Dutch and Russia, on the ranked ladder, they don't benefit from TPs. Most meta with Sweden doesn't benefit from TPs, and they just get countered by so many civs. Gaza, shut the fuck up. If you want to argue they're in A, then we can. See, this is Sweden might be the most controversial one out of everyone because some people think they're really, really strong. But when you play them, if you play them on the ladder against all the top civs, they are so bad. They lack tempo so hard. You either try and boom or you mass loads of units and then you lack tempo. So I think they're going to be. Can you argue that they're way better than Dutch Russia? I don't think so. At low elo, lever cannon. Yeah, at low elos, even to mid elos, lever cannons are really, really good. At high elos, they're not that good. There's no way Sweden beat Germany, USA, Aztec, Inca. Like they just get in H2 as well. They can get very easily like shafted. They get very easily contained. Kevin, give me a good matchup for Sweden. Exactly. Like, tell me a matchup that Sweden win very hard. They don't. They don't. They get contained. Like they get fucked by Africa civs, the War Chief civs. These civs that can apply lots of early pressure and also run pikes around the map and just siege torps down. They just get absolutely destroyed by that sort of play because they've got no counter to it. So Sweden just have so many bad matchups. But I know they're controversial because they're one of those civs that, depending on your elo range, depending on your micro ability, is very, very up and down. Okay, what should we go on to next? Malta. I know there's a couple of top players like Ungers, Kevin, that really like this civilization, and they do really well with them. But again, I feel like Malta have too many bad matchups. And Malta's bad matchups are Otto FF, Spain FF, Mexico cannon spam. They really struggle versus those civilizations that can get fortress early, because Malta are all about setting up their eco, and that takes time, and then that comes with some drawbacks. So I feel like Malta, they've got tools. They've got like depots and outposts and commanderies and all that sort of good stuff, but they just struggle on the ladder. Again, they struggle too much against very fast tempo orientated civilizations like Spain, Otto, which are very dominant on the ladder, which you see a lot of. Hausa. Don't see a lot of these at high level play. The only one that comes to mind is probably Dennis. But again, Hausa played right is just, again, another one of those civs that they can just mass an insane amount of units at extremely fast. They get an extra resource like export. Yeah, so they get so many bonuses from that. They get lots of cards. They have Skirm, Goon, Cav in Age 2. They have every unit available in Age 2, which almost always automatically makes a civ good. Ungers coming in shitting on my tier list. Of course. So Hausa, both the Africa civs are just insane. You feel like maybe overrated as fuck. The only thing that got nerfed about them recently, I think, is the fact that the extra range on their skirms is now an Age 3 card as opposed to their Age 2 card. But they're definitely not overrated, in my opinion. They're definitely not overrated. They're extremely... There was at one point in time where Dennis was just wrecking. Dennis was like top 10 with Hausa, playing exclusively Hausa. Dennis is a very good player, don't get me wrong, but yeah, he was just destroying people. Let's go for India. I think India are in a comfortable A spot. Again, they have every type of unit in Age 2. Skirm, Goon, Cav. They've got really good pikemen or Rodolero type unit. The reason they're not higher is because they lack tempo, like, again, the Otto and Spain civs. But because they can't always get the early TP, so they lack tempo again. they're a very strong tournament civ because there's lots of tournament maps that don't have TPs, and on a map with livestock, they're extremely good. So on a map with lots of livestock, you can argue India are here, but because we're talking about the ranked ladder, they're often here. And every map on the ranked ladder has a TP, so every opponent has an advantage in that essence. Brits, again, a solid A tier, definitely better than India. Are they as good as France? I don't think so, but I think Brits like France, I feel like are the epitome of balance. I think Brits play it in the right hands, very, very good. Again, it is a good tournament civ as well. It's a good ranked ladder civ. They've got a fun fortress build. They've got South Africa Revolt, which is really, really strong at the moment. But then they've got the classic 700 wood, 600 wood type build, which is very, very good. They're essentially the best Musk artillery civ in the game as well. But yeah, I think they sit next to India, so it's very close between them two. France arguably better, but I think that's comfortable. Italy's a weird one. Italy is such a weird one, and I actually don't know where to put Italy. I feel like Italy sometimes are like a strong A tier civ, but then sometimes I feel like they're a B tier civ. I think I'd put Italy probably around A tier. It depends who you're playing. Depends who you're playing or who's playing them. But I feel like Italy do have some bad matchups, but they have some good matchups as well. They still got a good industrial, but it is counterable. Italy lack from tempo as well. So again, that's why they're here. They're exactly where India and Brits are. They don't get an early TP. They lack shipments. But if they got a lot more early shipments, if Italy had a starting TP, if they was able to have a build with a starting TP, they'd be insane. They would be absolutely insane. But because they don't, that's their drawback. And it's very difficult to get lots of XP. So that's why they lack tempo. But they are still a good civ, good fortress, good industrial civ. They can play at NH2 as well. Decent boom civ. But yeah. Izad saying Italy is like A- to B+. Yeah, okay. Are they better than India and Brits? I don't think so, but they're not. They're probably on the same level, so we'll put them there. Let's go for Japan. Again, I might get a lot of hate for this, but I think they're A tier. I think Japan are A tier. They bottom A tier, fine. Izad saying F tier. Izad's always been one for Japan being low tier. I just feel like because of the amount of crazy builds we've seen recently, and because of how effective we've seen them do, I just think Japan are very, very good. Very, very good. I just think Japan are better than people think they are. They lack tempo, but if they survive, they are good. Yeah, again, that's another... That is the definition of Japan as well. So again, they don't have that starting TP. You'll see a pattern here. Civs that have starting or have TPs or lots of XP production, lots of shipments, are always at the top, whilst the ones that don't are just below them. But yeah, they've got the 5 shrine card, which can be sent twice. They've got a good tempo meta at the moment with the Tory Gates build. And that's a way of getting around TP starts. I've even seen some people do TP starts with them now, and they're doing really, really well. So yeah, you've got that starting samurai to prevent them being rushed. They're just, and I've seen Spanish consulate builds with them as well. So you've got the Tory Gates with the Spanish consulate, and when they do those builds, because they're getting lots of cards and shipments, they look really strong. And that's how they obviously all have the Heavenly Kami build, which is good in certain situations as well. But yeah, so Izad doesn't get people sending 300 food. So yeah, so basically Japan are stronger than people think, but that's, you got to get out of the old meta with Japan. You need to get into the new meta. Look at the stuff Piroshiki King is doing with Japan, and you'll think they're S tier. So, let's go for China. China, I think, again, probably bottom of A. They don't lack tempo, but they're slower than their counterpart equivalents. Their counterpart equivalents would be like Spain and Otto because they're like a very fortress orientated civilization, but they get there slower. So that's kind of that's one of it's arguably stronger or more powerful, their fortress, but it's slower. And so that's why they kind of, and I feel like China have, I feel like they have quite a few bad matchups. Like I feel like France, Brits, Germany, these civs that have really strong semi FFs kill China so hard, and I feel like they just have too many bad matchups. I could be convinced that China are B tier. I mean, let me know what you guys think, but China could arguably be B tier. They have been nerfed. They've been every patch. There was a nerf after nerf after nerf after nerf, and finally the nerfs have caught up to China, and they're not as strong anymore. Neither France nor Germany counters China. That's a lie, youngers. That is such a lie. Early Muscav just shits on China so hard. Yeah, it's just they're not what they used to be. That's true, and they used to be broken. Which is, they did used to be broken. So I think we'll leave them there for the moment. Let's go for something like, let's go for Haudenosaunee. Some people will argue Haudenosaunee up here. I personally probably think they're top of A. I don't play a lot of Haudenosaunee, so it's difficult for me to know. They have an insane rush, yes, but that's not their strongest build. They have like some of the best skirm goon play in the game. They have the best artillery, but it only comes in age 4. So they've got some good industrial builds. I just don't see them as good as like the likes of Germany, USA, Aztec, Inca. I don't see them on that level. So I think I'll probably put Haudenosaunee at the top of A. Very strong civ, very strong skirmishers, very strong artillery, very strong goons, very strong cav. Yeah, just a very good civ, but I don't think there's much more to say about Haudenosaunee, to be honest with you. Spain, I think if I put Spain anything lower than S, I'll get a lot of hate. I think Spain probably have to go in the S tier. They're not as good as USA. They're not. Are they? Then I don't know. Actually, I think it's fair. Yeah, I think it's fair to put Spain in S tier. Probably better than Hausa. They counter Hausa. Hausa's one bad matchup. Hausa's worst matchup is Spain, and it is a terrible matchup for Hausa. Yeah, Spain. The more I think about Spain, the more they are insane. They've got really good industrial, really good fortress, really good revolts. They've got really good boom options as well. Spain are just very, very good. Yeah, Spain have to have a spot in the top 5 for sure. Spain counter all S tier civs. Do they? Probably the second best civ. Are they though? Because I feel like Spain. The irony is, I feel like Spain get countered by Portugal. So I'm going to go for Portugal next. I mean, Spain are just insane. They are like the tempo civ. Like they are the tempo civ. But funny enough, talking about the next civ, which is Portugal, the 10-10 with Portugal is just insane. It's absolutely disgusting. They get a free organ card for like 300 gold. They have Fatorius, Trickle, which is insane. They have a starting TP with 10-10. They can be in age 3 with 3 TCs at like 6 minutes. They are almost unrushable because of it, and they scale unbelievably, and from such an early age now. It never used to be like that because of Fatorius, but with Fatorius, with 1k wood, with 3 organ guns, they are just unrushable. And they outscale so hard. And funnily enough, I feel like they do really well versus USA. They do really well versus Spain because they've got such a good way of cutting those civilizations' tempo off. I feel like they do really, really well versus those civs. So I feel like Portugal have to go in the S tier as well. I'm just saying why Aztec in the S tier civ because they just the stuff I saw Julian doing with them and Kanisi doing with them. They are just they can do they've got that some of the best rush in the game. They've got one of the best booms in the game. They got an insane fortress. They got the late game. They have like the best units in the game. Like they are just insane. They get 5 villagers for some reason as well. They're just an insane civ. They are just an insane civ. So they have to go here. I feel like poor army just can't kill Spain army. If ports can deal with 2 falconets, they win. I feel like they win. They just win because then they outscale. And then goons running around, organ guns, free organ guns is just so good. Yeah. I mean, anyone that disagrees, I mean, just watch Chef Sudiste. Watch what Chef Sudiste does. You know, that man's shipping refrigeration at 7 minutes of the game and getting away with it. You know, like it's just an insane civ. Portugal are just an insane civ. It's just they are one of the highest skill ceiling civs, just because there's free TCs from an early age and you have to macro well and stuff like that. So, Lakota, I'm sorry, but that's another secret S tier civ. I mean, it's difficult to place Lakota, but Lakota are just insane. Lakota are just insane. The smallest mistake in its lost. This tier list is getting worse and worse. I mean, anyone who argues about Lakota, like, just look at their win rate in the Winter ESOC Championship. Like, Lakota are honestly, Lakota are just insane. And I think they're like kind of because barely anyone plays them. People don't understand how powerful they are, but they are honestly so strong, really strong units, very strong cavalry units. TP on large TP maps, they're insane. On large TP maps, Lakota are so good. They got really strong H2 push and timings and rushes now as well. Yeah, they're a very strong civ. What else have we got? It feels like I'm putting everything in S tier, which is kind of weird. And it's going to look like a proper skew with. Now, this one might be a bit controversial. Otto. I potentially think Otto are the top of A tier. Do I think Otto? I could be convinced Otto. I changed my mind about Otto because, yes, I know people are going to say S tier, S tier, S tier because they've got some insane stuff, but they get countered. Line tier list, half of the civ is broken, but that's kind of a good thing, I think, Kevin, that everything is an S tier because that shows you the balance of the game. Like, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's all really good. Otto not A tier. Let's start. If I'm to put Otto in this tier list in S tier, they're probably near the bottom. I just feel like maybe if there was an S plus tier, but I don't think USA are S plus tier. I saw Widgie had a 50-minute video on how to play Otto in the first one. I mean, the thing is, when I think about it, they've got Abbas guns, which just automatically just make them S tier. Yeah, I'm not sure. Mexico. Are Mexico S tier or are they A tier? Like, are Mexico a tier better than Haudenosaunee, France? I don't think so. I do think Mexico are good, but they're not better than these civs. They're not better. Like, they're not better than USA. They're not better than Germany. Mexico are such a flexible civ, but on water maps, arguably they are S tier because they have that really good card, federal card. Stop this nonsense. Oh dear. And then Ethiopia, again S tier. Ethiopia, both the Africa civs are just insane. Because of that extra export type resource that they have. They can do everything, man. They currently Ethiopia as well have like the who is it? Who's doing that Age 2 rush with Ethiopia? Who's spamming that on the ladder at the moment? They're just showing why Ethiopia is just such an insane civilization at the moment. They got Aben booms as well, which is insane. They get really good shadow tech artillery in Age 3 and Age 4. They got the best musketeer in the game. They get Age 2 skirmishers with a card. They get Abbas gun shipment. They get the Coyote Runner type unit. Can't remember what it's called, but they're insane. Yeah, just a really, really good set. And to be honest with you, at the moment, they'd probably go here. They'd probably go about there. Just because of that. The Red Sea Wagon Age 2 rush is just insane. Like, name a better musket. Gas, can you a paper? They are weak, but they have 4.5 speed. They have ashy speed. And they have a faster fire rate than any other musketeer. They have a really good fire animation, all that sort of stuff. They're just insane. They're ashy with less HP, but faster fire rate. And cheaper. I knew Kevin. Yeah, Kevin has, for some reason, Kevin has PTSD about USA musketeers. But yeah. So guys, that might be my civ tier list. Kept it short but sweet. Yo, what's up, Talanis? Hiding in there. Do a tier. Good to see you, Talanis. I haven't seen you in a while, mate. Do A tier under S tier and debate which S tier. Do you know what? If there was, what I should probably do, arguably, there should be an A+ tier, and then I would put half of the S tier in A+ tier. Hi, Lionel. like probably like Portugal, Otto, Hauser, Mexico, Haudenosaunee, France, they'd go in A+. But I don't want it to be too confusing. That seems like a good tier list to me. They are arguably the 4 worst civs in the game, but they're still competitive. Particularly in tournament settings where there's non-TP maps. Unfortunately, the meta in the map pool and has been for a long time is TP and XP and constant shipments, which provides lots of tempo. And these civs struggle with that, I think. These civs, very competitive, very strong. China, Japan, definitely on the N scale or there, and then A tier. Yeah, I think that looks good to me. When I think about all of the S tier civs, like I can't see any of them moving down. I can't see any of them down. I mean, Lakota, honestly, I think are super strong, hidden, like proper hidden, super strong civ. To be honest, Ports I think could probably be higher up. Otto are just brain dead, but the only reason Otto are not higher is because Otto do have some bad matchups. Honestly, Otto have some bad matchups. Like, even Dutch do well versus Otto. Sweden can do well versus Otto in certain situations. But yeah, other than that, like France and Brits can do well versus Otto. So yeah, I think that's it. Lionheart is smoking more opium than the Queen. Just move everything in A except USA, Spain, Inca. Yeah, arguably. But guys, Ethiopia, man. Ethiopia, have you forgotten Ethiopia's Age 2 Red Sea Wagon push? Have you guys forgotten that? Have you guys forgotten about that? Like, it's unbelievable. Spain's boom is insane because Spain Spain can go fortress into Spanish gold into 1K wood with capitalism already, and then into the boomy card. I can't remember the one It's like 360 seconds or something. I can't remember what it's called. Marvelous Year. So they can go Spanish Gold, 1K Wood, Marvelous Year, and they've got like some of the best eco in the game. Like they have like the best eco in the game. Plus they can do early aggression as well, win the fortress. So yeah, Spain are really, really good. Aztec have some of the best units in the game. Just fucking unbelievably good units. Portugal, like they start outscaling you at 6 minutes of the game. It's just unbelievable, and they're unrushable because of the Fatorius Fortress and the free organ gun card. Otto can do lots of things. Inca, everyone fucking hates that civ. Hauser, they get Skirm Goon age 2, a very strong Skirm Goon. USA obviously broke. But yeah, I think all these civs are fair, and I think these civs, the B tier civs, are slightly worse. So yeah, guys, that's gonna be my tier list. I'll put this on YouTube as well. Yo, Big Shake, I was asking where you've been. First time I catch a stream in 2 weeks, and I see this. Oh dear. Okay, we'll leave it there. That was a nice half an hour we spent on that. Oh my